The most powerful weight loss drug in the world may not just change bodies, it may change the food business. For decades, food companies built empires around appetite, cravings, snacks, fast food, second servings, late-night orders, bigger drinks, bigger bags, bigger baskets. But GLP-1 drugs are changing the one thing the food industry depends on most: hunger. When millions of people start eating less, grocery baskets shrink, snack sales come under pressure, fast food visits can change, restaurants rethink portions, investors start watching food stocks differently, and suddenly, a medical breakthrough becomes a business problem. This is not a health advice video. This is the story of what happens when appetite becomes an economic force. It spreads to grocery stores, fast food chains, snack companies, beverage brands, restaurants, clothing retailers, gyms, pharmacies, insurance companies, and Wall Street. That is why this story matters. A drug once associated mainly with diabetes and weight loss is becoming an economic force. The question is no longer only how much weight can people lose? The business question is, what happens to an economy built around consumption when appetite changes? For food companies, this is uncomfortable. Many of the most profitable products in the modern food system are built around desire. Chips, candy, cookies, soda, fast food, desserts, impulse purchases, the snacks bought during stress, the extra meal ordered because it is convenient. If consumers feel full faster or become more intentional with food, that does not just change a diet, it changes a revenue model. That is why investors started paying attention. The rise of GLP-1 drugs created a new fear across food and restaurant stocks. What if customers simply want less? What if smaller portions become normal? What if snack sales slow down? What if fast food visits decline? What if grocery baskets shrink? What if the biggest change in food is not a new restaurant or delivery app, but a drug that changes appetite? That is the hidden tension. Food companies have survived inflation, supply chain problems, and changing diet trends. But GLP-1 drugs are different because they may change the feeling that drives the choice itself. A diet trend requires discipline. A food trend requires motivation. But if appetite changes, the business model must change with it. That is why the Ozempic economy is not only a health story, it is a consumption story, and consumption powers some of the biggest companies in the world. Imagine a grocery store. The shelves are full. The drinks are cold. Every aisle is built around behavior. A shopper enters for a few items, but the store wants the basket to grow. A bigger bag, a sweet drink, a frozen dessert, a last-minute purchase. Modern food retail is not only about feeding people, it is about increasing the value of every trip. That is why even small changes in appetite matter. If one customer buys fewer snacks, nothing changes. If millions do, the math starts moving. A few dollars less per basket becomes a warning signal. A few fewer fast food visits become a strategy problem. That is why analysts started studying how GLP-1 users spend. Some research suggests households using these drugs spend less on groceries and fast food. Analysts have warned that soda, salty snacks, baked goods, and sweets could face pressure over time. Food executives are already adapting. Some companies are focusing on protein. Some are promoting smaller portions. Some are developing products aimed at weight-conscious consumers. Others are watching whether GLP-1 friendly becomes a new label. And many are trying to protect one of the most profitable parts of the business, the snack habit. Snack companies do not just sell calories. They sell comfort, celebration, convenience, and reward. That is why snacks are such a strong business. They are emotional, repeatable purchases. But GLP-1 drugs create a new question. What happens when emotional triggers remain, but physical cravings weaken? That is a dangerous question for food companies. Because if people still seek comfort but consume less, the winning products may change. Smaller packages may become more attractive. Higher protein snacks may grow. Low sugar options may gain more space. Restaurants may adjust portions. The food business will not disappear. People still eat. People still celebrate. People still value convenience. But the shape of demand may change. And that makes this story bigger than Ozempic. The real story is how quickly companies can adapt when consumer behavior changes. History shows that food companies are good at adapting. When consumers wanted low-fat products, companies made low-fat products. When they wanted low-carb, plant-based, or protein-focused foods, companies responded. So the future is probably not the death of big food. It is the reinvention of big food. But reinvention is expensive. Marketing changes, packaging changes, product development changes, supply chains change, restaurant menus change, and investors watch closely to see whether new products can replace slowing ones. That is why this is such a powerful business story. A medical innovation creates a behavior change. That behavior change creates pressure on food companies. Food companies respond. Investors reprice winners and losers. And suddenly, appetite becomes a market signal. The most interesting part of the Ozempic economy is that the winners may not be obvious. Many people assume drug companies are the biggest winners, and they are certainly important. Some analysts expect anti-obesity medications to become one of the largest pharmaceutical markets in the world. But second-order winners may be just as interesting. Pharmacies benefit from demand. Healthcare providers attract new patients. Fitness companies may create programs focused on preserving muscle during weight loss. Food companies may develop smaller, higher protein products. Clothing retailers may see changing sizing demand. Travel, beauty, and wellness businesses may also benefit if consumers feel differently about their appearance and lifestyle. That is the second layer. The first layer is the drug. The second layer is behavior. The third layer is the economy adjusting around it. But there are risks. These drugs can be expensive. Insurance coverage can change. Access may remain uneven. Some people stop taking them because of cost, side effects, or personal reasons. Long-term consumer behavior is still uncertain. That matters because businesses can overreact. That is why the Ozempic economy is not simple. It is not food companies are finished. It is not drug companies win everything. It is a shift in incentives and habits. The food industry has always depended on understanding what people want, but now companies may have to understand what happens when people want less. That is the strange challenge. Most businesses fight for more visits, more baskets, more portions, more upgrades, more cravings. But GLP-1 drugs introduce a different possibility. What if the next successful food product is smaller? What if the winning meal is not the largest combo, but the one that feels satisfying without excess? What if the winning snack is not the biggest bag, but the one designed for a changed appetite? What if the future of food is built not only on indulgence, but on control? That is the future companies are preparing for. And the smartest businesses will not fight consumers. They will follow them. If people eat less, sell them better. If people snack less, make those snacks more intentional. If people want protein, build protein. If people want smaller portions, redesign portions. If they want health and convenience, combine both. The companies that adapt will survive. Those that depend entirely on old habits may struggle. That is the lesson. The Ozempic economy is not about one drug. It is about what happens when a medical breakthrough starts changing everyday spending. A doctor sees a treatment. A patient sees a tool. A food company sees risk. A pharmacy sees demand. A restaurant sees changing behavior. An investor sees a new market. And the economy sees something rare, a change in appetite becoming a change in money. For decades, companies built fortunes by making people want more snacks, more meals, more drinks, more convenience, more impulse. But the next chapter of consumer business may be shaped by people wanting less. And that is why the most important business story in food may not begin in a restaurant, grocery store, or corporate boardroom. It may begin with a smaller appetite.